Water production is priority number one in this second episode of Red Winter. Also, we're going to have to get 3 rockets refueled pretty quickly. 2 of them have landed, 1 of them is almost halfway here. And I should probably mention the accidental mod situation. Hello, Legion, this is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play some more Surviving Mars Green Planet in our brand new Red Winter series. So, yeah, I mentioned at the end of the last episode, or throughout the last episode, really, that it had been a while since I played Green Planet. I played it rather extensively when the game came out, but I had other things going on and couldn't start a series until now. I'm very excited to finally be playing it on the channel, and I'm glad to see so many of you excited that the game is back. But I had forgotten at the end of that previous stint, I had been playing around with a few mods, which I unwittingly forgot to turn off before I recorded episode 1 of this series. So they are active in this playthrough. There are 5 that I have enabled. They are fairly small tweaks to gameplay. One of them, and the first one I'll mention, is rather significant. Martian ice melt. Yeah, for those of you aware of this mod, I'll link all of them in the description below. It's going to change in a way that makes things a little bit easier, the way that this particular playthrough is going to go. Basically, what it does is it says, well, wait a minute. When a cold snap ends and all that ice that's been all over everything melts, shouldn't the water deposits replenish a little bit? And I'll be honest, I haven't actually played too much with the mod, so we're going to have to see exactly how OP or not OP it is, but that mod is active. So from a realism and narrative perspective, I like the fact that that mod is active, but I also just wanted to mention it from a gameplay challenge perspective. That's going to make things a little bit easier. That's number 1. We also have the Smarter Worker AI mod enabled, which I haven't played with too much, but that just is supposed to help workers find jobs a little bit more efficiently. I'll have to go back and look at some of the details for like exactly what tweaks it makes, but I don't know how those changes interact with anything that might have happened in the Cernan update or the Green Planet launch in general, because I think this mod has existed before Green Planet, so we'll have to see. Could be kind of interesting. And of course, because we're playing on a high difficulty playthrough, I didn't mention last episode, but of course we will restart, maybe with some tweak settings or a different location if this first go doesn't go well. That's how things go when you play on high difficulty. I'm not afraid to start us over if things blow up in our faces. Also, there is a mod to fix leaks faster, 30% faster, not 30%, but 30 seconds as opposed to 60 seconds for drones. And that's supposedly something that is in the base code. It takes a minute for drones to respond to leaks, and this reduces that time slightly. And then there's sensor tower info, which you can see actually if I select a sensor tower. There's a lot of info down here that isn't normally in the game. It shows how many working towers there are, as well as how much time we have to predict disasters based on the sensor towers that are online. So we'll bring more of those on once we know we won't have maintenance to worry about. And then finally, a nice little, not quality of life, but just realism mod that might not affect us too much given the terrain up here, but if a solar panel is shadowed, it will only produce about half power. The shadowed solar panels mod is active. So we have just wanted to go through that really quickly. A little bit of meta commentary, I know, but it was a complete accident. I didn't even think about it until after the first episode was already recorded and online. So there you have it. We are almost done analyzing this anomaly. Let's jump up to speed 2 for this episode. Again, once the colony is underway, we're going to spend most of our time in the playthrough, similarly to how things have been going in the Rise of the Forerunners series. Oh, wow. You can tell it's been a week and a half since I've recorded any Stellaris content. Can't remember the name of my series. But yeah, oh, good. All right, so we got 1,250 research points from that. But yeah, similarly to that Stellaris series I have going right now, which is coming back today, by the way, for those of you waiting on it, we are going to have Speed 2 or Speed 3 active at pretty much all times. So, all right, anomaly analyzed. Transport optimization is done. Oh, that's good. So we just finished 2 different techs. We finished, where are you? Here. So we finished this technology, subsurface heating, and it looks like we've unlocked extractor amplification, and we've also unlocked Explorer AI. I'm going to go ahead and put this first, because this means additional research per soul for our RC Explorer. Anything we can do to bring in more research more quickly, it's a good thing. Also, extractor amplification, might need that soon. One thing I'm definitely going to want to do is get these factories running fairly soon. I don't know. We'll have to play with this. I'm not familiar with it. I don't think that these will work until there's an atmosphere to heat up. It doesn't make sense to me necessarily that temperature change will work until you have the building that allows you to unlock carbon emissions and just general, to pump CO2 into the atmosphere. Once there's an atmosphere to heat up, then temperature changing buildings would work. But I could be wrong. So we'll get some of those online soon. As you can see, I've queued up the first terraforming technology so we can unlock more, hopefully unlock that new carbon producing building sooner than later. So we have a few more anomalies for this guy to check out. He's on the way to which one right now? Looks like he's pointing towards that one. Yeah, which makes sense. We want as many research points as possible. Okay, Phoenix number 2 is ready to land. So tell you what, why don't we bring you in right there next to Phoenix number 1. So we set up a second drone hub last episode. Kind of a snap decision on my part, but I'm glad I did it. Because there is going to be a lot going on here, there might even be a dome in this general area at some point in the colony's future, maybe even in the near future. We have this drone hub, rather than being established all the way over here, it's established where it can still overlap with the first one and help with anything in the area here. Speaking of that, I'm also going to take the RC commander and go ahead and bring him over to this area because they're going to need some help getting water production going. But now that this new rocket is landing, we're going to get our new drone hub set up as soon as possible and begin to get water flowing. You might recall as well that a second fuel refinery is on this rocket. We already have one fuel refinery planet side, just to show you. It's right there. So once water is flowing, we need to get all 3 of these rockets refueled because they're not going anywhere until we have fuel, and we're not going to have fuel until we have water. If you're new to Surviving Mars and you're maybe watching this series as someone who is normally into other games on the channel, or you just happen to have popped into this series not even having been on the channel before, a couple of things to note as we play through. All of our resources are indicated up here. You can see how much money the colony has, how much research per soul we're producing, also how far we are through the current research technology. That's new to Surviving Mars and a very nice addition. It's been there for several patches now, but you can see exactly how far you are through. And when you do a mouse over, as you can see, you can tell which technology that is. How much excess power, oxygen, or water is being produced. All right, no resources in Sector J2, which was down here. So now we're going to start looking through here. There's probably going to be some water in this general area. So that's going to be a secondary area where we find some water deposits because there's ice. And notice there's a large ice patch over here as well. So that's a tertiary area where we will have some water. And then we have our basic resources. As I mentioned in the first episode, we have water, concrete, and food. Every time you bring colonists down to Mars, they bring a little bit of food with them, but you mainly have to produce food on the Martian surface. Well, not on the surface immediately. We'll get there once the planet's terraformed, but you'll produce food in domes. And then rare metals is how you make money for your colony. We have discovered rare metals. We have some stuff going on over here. So this is going to be kind of interesting because we have water production here, but this is where we're going to need to set up our first domes. And it's in a cold area. So it's going to be challenging. All of this is rather cold. Okay, good. Explorer AI is finished. And Adapted Probes is almost finished. We got a nice chunk of research done there. So we now are going to bring in, as you can see, 1,400 research per soul. I mentioned that I would explain this in the last episode, then I didn't, but hopefully it's making sense. We have a certain amount that's coming in from outsourcing, which we spent $5 billion on, was it $5 billion? No. A single billion. It's $200 million per outsourcing. So we spent $1 billion getting that set up last episode, and then we have our normal sponsor research, which has gone up a slight amount given our research that we've already done. I believe right here. Yep. And then we have our explorers. So if we brought down a second explorer drone, that would be helpful as well. Let's go back to speed 2. What got unlocked, by the way? Looks like faster drones. That's going to come in handy. I think before I do anything else, though, I want to go ahead and research the low G high-rise. Having apartments, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and remove those from the queue and then re-add them. There we go. Having apartments researched as soon as possible is rather helpful. in surviving Mars. Because when you bring your first colonists down, yes, opening the build menu, you can hit B. That's my favorite notification that pops up. It's like, hey, are you a noob? No, I'm not. Thank you. All right, so drone hub. I'm kind of a noob, to be honest. Like I said, I haven't played probably as much as I should have. I had accidental mods left on. All right, so we can put this drone hub here. So there's a little bit more overlap than I was expecting. We might have even been able... Yeah, if we had put a drone hub here with the first one, we probably wouldn't have needed a second drone hub. Somebody mentioned this, and it turns out they were correct in the first episode. I could have just brought this drone hub all the way over here. But again, having a second drone hub in this region had a dual purpose, because I knew that there'd be more going on here, and we're not going to be able to spend money on bringing additional drones down yet, so just plopping down a drone hub and that giving us 8 additional drones pretty much for free, aside from the fact that we ordered the drone hub and paid for that, is a useful thing. So let's see. Best spot would be... Yeah, let's put it right there. I'm not thrilled with my placement options here, but because I want to make sure there's plenty of room to get to that deposit. But there we go. All right, I'm going to make that priority number 1 so that they put that up as soon as possible. And I will also go ahead and order the construction. There we go. I always think water extractor is under the factory tab. Never fails, even when I'm playing not for YouTube. Happens a lot. Just like an automatic assumption on my part. Okay, so... yeah, that's the direction I want one pipe to go. Trying to find the best orientation for this first building. All right, next we of course need power. Kind of bothers me that we're not going to have a straight line, but I'm not going to be that OCD about it. Now, again, the drone hubs don't require power. But I'm still going to run the power line along the general direction of the hubs. There we go. And then, of course, we're going to need pipes. We have an anomaly that's just finished being analyzed. I guess we'll have pipes run out to about... No, we'll bring them all the way. It's fine. You don't necessarily have to have the cords, the power cables, and the pipes overlap the way that I'm doing here. There we go. And then finally, we will need those fuel refineries to go up, but we'll wait on that. This is consuming metal to get these built, but you can see the drones are going to town. Second drone hub is already online. And now the final thing I need to do is establish a resource location to where they can bring the things needed. Probably just going to do a basic resource depot. All right, so these guys can reach... Come on now, what are you doing? Thank you. There's a drone maybe getting recharged? No, it's just... Oh, that's where it is. Okay. It was interfering with my selection. So this is our basic universal depot here. So we need this hub to bring stuff from that depot all the way over this direction. So that's probably where it needs to be, right in front of that. That's actually rather aesthetic. I'll take it. All right, so there's our secondary location. I'm going to up the desired amount here to, let's say, 5, just to encourage drones to bring a little bit more that direction. And what's going to happen is immediately you're going to see, yeah, those drones come to life and start doing a little bit more to bring resources this way. Once resources have arrived at... Oh, wait a minute. There's one more thing I need to do. If I really want to be efficient about this, We want to have one there as well. That way the drones from this depot can go to that one and be involved in the chain.
The analysis tells us that we found iridium-rich sulfides. That's a real rarity on Earth.
Okay, this is another excellent development. So the cost of physics texts have been reduced by 10%. Thanks to that anomaly we've just researched. And speaking of that, we have one more orbital probe. That's good to know. I'm going to go ahead and just blast that right there. Nice. A couple of more anomalies. And we're in the area too. So we've got a breakthrough tech. Let's go ahead and scan that anomaly first.
Sector scanned. Anomaly found.
So we found more metal underground. Lots of metal, actually. That's good news. What are we looking at? A very low-grade deposit and an average deposit. I misspoke, I believe, in the first episode. I mentioned that a low-grade deposit was going to deplete quickly. It's the other way around. Higher-grade deposits give you more resources faster. So it's the higher grades that actually deplete very quickly. But lower grade also produces more waste rock, evidently. That's something that the game's tutorials don't explain, and I had to look it up prior to starting this series to really make sure that I knew how to explain it. Because I've always kind of intuitively understood it, but never really seen it written down because it's not in the tutorials for some weird reason. But there it is. All right, so I bet there's more metal to be gathered. There totally is. So let's have our RC transport load metal from here. We have plenty at the moment, but I just want to make sure that we maintain a surplus of metal. All right, so it would appear we're almost fully set up in this direction. Still need the water extractor going. I'm going to put that on high priority so that it gets done as soon as possible. And I suppose we can go ahead and build our fuel refinery. So what these will do is they will take water, essentially, and help convert it into hydrogen fuel for the rockets. So we need a couple, and it looks like we've got spacing for a few here. Perfect. All right, so fuel that pops out here can be ferried by these drones to be a little bit closer to the launch pad. So I'm going to go ahead and create a fuel. Come on now. Why is my brain not working? There we go. All right. High difficulty playthrough of Surviving Mars, Hadrian. You kind of need your brain to work. All right. New techs are available for research. So we have dust repulsion and Stirling generator already. That's pretty good. Okay, we have the option of researching a funding boost. Let's go ahead and queue up. Yeah, that's already in the queue. Water reclamation is probably a good idea. Polymer blades. Ooh. We might need that sooner than the low-G high-rise. Let's go ahead and put that at the front of the queue. As you can see, our outsourcing is starting to deplete. Okay, so the fuel refineries have been built, but we don't have water at the moment. We will soon, though. First cold snap's on the way. Not quite sure when it's going to arrive. It hasn't been announced, but it's coming. We have a very, very northern settlement location here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that breakthrough anomaly analyzed, because that could be an interesting technology that really helps us out as well. So far, things have gone rather spectacularly with regard to, let's go up to speed 3. With regard to technology and research, anomalies and such in this opening 30 to 40 minutes of gameplay. So something is bound to go wrong at some point. I'm personally guessing that a cold snap will be involved.
Sector scanned.
All right, so sectors still being actively scanned. I'll go ahead and queue those up. I'm hoping for some additional water in this area. I'll really be shocked if there's not. It'll be a while before we can get to it because we have to expand the colony outward, but that's okay. So up here, going back to the research discussion, or the resources discussion, I should say. Research is over here. We have our additional advanced resources, polymers, machine parts, fuel, and electronics. Fuel we're, of course, about to start producing rather quickly, and these rockets will launch when that happens,
Resources.
one at a time. Yeah, the game is telling me I don't have water because we have buildings that require it that aren't getting it, but we need one more piece of concrete, and that'll be taken care of.
Breakthrough discovered.
Sustained workload. What does that one do again? Nice. Doubles the performance bonus when colonists are working on a heavy workload. That's not even a feature that I've used too much in my offline play, but if you ever need to tell your colonists, like, hey, we need you to produce a certain thing as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and not dilly-dally, then you can put them in heavy workload mode, and it increases their stress and leads to possible sanity breakdowns, but they produce more when you really need them to. So I didn't notice we had a little fissure over here, if you can call it that, right nearby. It's probably been there the whole time, just kind of as a background feature, but hasn't actually caught my attention yet. All right, so the last pipes are going up. Once they're done, this water will have a place to go, and we will start producing fuel rather quickly. Drones from this drone hub here, as well as this drone hub, yeah, they're perfectly in range. I didn't even do that on purpose, but that works quite well because these two drones, sets of drones, so 16 drones altogether, we'll be able to help ferry the fuel from here to here. All right, we need one more pipe, guys. It's not hard. The resources are already there. What we probably need to do is just get a drone charger set up. There we go. And voila, we are producing fuel at these fuel refineries. So they're going to start popping that out onto these little pads, and it will be immediately ferried over here. So with that being done, let's take a look at what else we can do. Now that we have water production in place, there are a couple of things. Also, moisture vaporators we could have done sooner. This is a way to get smaller amounts of water inbound to your colony. And I will go ahead and set up, let's say, one of these. Do we want to do it right there? Yeah, that makes sense. Also, while I'm thinking about it, let's get a large dumping site set up for the waste rock, because these are not particularly high-grade deposits. So we need some dumping sites. Yeah, you can see the waste rock piling up over here. There's that. Yeah. Those drones clearly now have something to do. If that piles up completely, then the building will shut down. So it's good to have those in place. So this is a low-grade deposit, I believe. Yeah, very low grade. And our first concrete deposit that we started with here is an average grade deposit. So that's producing concrete a little faster. Yeah. Now the fissure is spewing. That's purely cosmetic, by the way. I'm sure if I rode over it with one of the RC drones, it would be problematic. Maybe. But for the most part, it's going to be there. It's going to remain there. Even once the planet's terraformed, it's still going to be spewing stuff. Maybe slightly in a different color as things get better. But as I recall, not even that. There's one of those in like a corner of the map in my previous terraforming playthrough. So, right, additional, wow, lots of metal over here. That's really good news for a colony because metal is one of the things you need to be able to produce a lot of and stay on top of it. But we also need rare metals. So I'm hoping that there'll be some, just like there's a cluster of metals here, that there'll be a cluster of rare metals in addition to this one there. That would make my day. All right, so it looks like the first rocket has refueled. Let's go ahead. We're going to turn off, not that it matters right now, but we're going to turn off gathering rare resources into the rockets. So we've officially launched a rocket from Mars. All right, so we've finished research into low-G turbines, which means our wind turbine can be upgraded, and I'm going to go ahead and do that using some of the polymers that I have. So obviously the fuel required for these rockets is quite low, which is nice. just requires 15. Both of them are already 1/3 of the way refueled, in addition to the one I've already launched. We only get the research boost from launching the rocket from Mars the first time. It's a milestone, not a just routine research bonus. It'd be cool if you got it every time. Well, no. It'd be silly if you got it every time. Frankly. Let's see. So there are some surface metals over here, but mainly it looks like surface metals to be discovered here. Now that that rocket has launched, one very nice thing we'll do to cap off this episode. I always enjoy putting these down for the first time. I don't know why I can't find them. Oh, yeah, that's right. They're on infrastructure. Landing pad. So that next time we bring a rocket down, things look a little bit more official. A little bit more organized. Second rocket's almost ready to launch, and we'll probably put one on the opposite side because I like the symmetry of that situation. I do. It worked well. I'm a little bit surprised that the first cold snap hasn't been announced yet, but once this thing is built, last piece of concrete coming in now. Maybe? There we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop this episode here. In the next one, we're going to finish launching these rockets, and we are definitely going to throw down a subsurface heater so that we have the ability to stop. I mean, we need to build a water tank as well, but all of our water is currently going into fuel production, which is okay as long as we have rockets to fuel. But we need to start building up water soon, which means, again, we're going to need that heater so that when the first cold snap arrives, everything doesn't absolutely go to hell in a handbasket. And at the same time, we can begin considering where we're going to put our very first dome and bringing our first colonists down to begin the proper exercise of surviving Mars. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. New episodes of Red Winter are coming out every day at 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.